For more than 4 decades, my life has revolved around one mission: decoding the laws that govern reality itself. I've devoted myself to theoretical physics, spent years navigating string theory, probing parallel universes and the limits of space-time, believing I had some grasp of how the universe behaves. I was wrong. What occurred roughly 11 hours ago involving the interstellar object we've been calling 3I Atlas has shaken every assumption I've ever had. This thing, this visitor, didn't behave like a comet, asteroid, or any natural body known to science. It split, cleanly, deliberately, and then half of it simply vanished. NASA can't find it. No telescope, no radar system, no detection network on Earth or in orbit has a trace of it. And that is not just unusual. It is terrifying. Let me be honest. Since receiving the emergency call from colleagues at NASA, I haven't slept. I've been in continuous contact with physicists around the planet, and everyone is saying the same thing. This event breaks the rules of physics as we understand them. Yes, I've built my career imagining impossible things: wormholes, quantum fields, cosmic strings, multiverse pathways. But those ideas were always grounded in mathematics and theory. What we are witnessing now, this is real, observable, happening in our solar system, and it doesn't fit inside physics textbooks. The break, and the first clue something was wrong. When word first reached me that 3I Atlas had split, my mind jumped to the obvious. Maybe we were seeing a natural fragmentation event. Yes, space objects break apart, tidal forces, heat stress, volatile gases. It happens, but that explanation fell apart instantly. This was no chaotic breakup. The separation was smooth, geometric, like engineered detachment, not rupture. And the second it divided, half of the object disappeared from every detection system. Simultaneously, no fade out, no interference signal, no time lag drop-off. 1 second it existed, the next second it didn't, anywhere in the spectrum of observable reality. Think about that. We have telescopes capable of spotting a basketball-sized object 10,000 miles out. We observe galaxies that formed billions of years before Earth even existed. We detect neutrinos, invisible particles passing through our planet, and yet we cannot locate something that was just hours ago thousands of feet across and within our cosmic backyard. From a physics standpoint, there are only two possibilities, and both are nightmarish. It cloaked itself, bent light, heat, and radiation around its body perfectly. It exited our space-time framework, moved into a dimension we cannot monitor. Either scenario implies technology or natural behavior beyond anything humanity has ever seen. And yes, the implications are exactly as unnerving as you think. The timeline that no one can explain. Let me walk you through the classified sequence NASA briefed me on. 48 hours before the split 3I Atlas followed a predictable course. Then something impossible happened. Instead of slowing as it passed its solar-influenced acceleration window, it sped up. Not subtly, nor dramatically, no gas vents, no outgassing trails, no visible propulsion, nothing. It accelerated as if powered, yet gave off no signature of engines, thrust, or chemical expulsion. Our equations simply failed. It was generating velocity without losing mass or reacting against anything. That does not happen naturally. 36 hours before the split, all observatories report pulsing energy readings. That was the first message. No radio signature, no communication pattern, but every major telescope picked up rhythmic bursts of energy emanating from the object's core, like a cosmic heartbeat. Even more disturbing, though, the pulses were perfectly timed. Every 11 minutes, not approximately, not with slight variation like natural astrophysical phenomena. Exactly, down to nanoseconds. There are pulsars that emit periodic radiation, yes, but they drift, they wobble, Physics introduces natural noise and decay. This did not. Someone, or something, was maintaining precision. That's an engineer's fingerprint, not nature's. Experts at Harvard modeled the probability of such perfect periodic behavior emerging naturally. The number they returned was so small it might as well be zero. Naturally occurring cosmic metronomes don't exist. 24 hours before the split signals stopped, the object went dark. No radiation, no emissions, no detectable thermal signature. Silence. Astronomers get nervous when celestial bodies stop behaving. Objects don't just power off mid-flight through interstellar space, unless they were never just objects in the first place. 18 hours before the split, a telescope array in Chile reported the body physically changing shape, shifting from a roughly spherical form to a long cylindrical structure over just 2 hours. Let me emphasize how insane that is. If Earth stretched into a cigar shape in an afternoon, you would assume reality had malfunctioned. Celestial bodies do not reshape themselves like machines reconfiguring. Yet this one did. Smooth, controlled, continuous structural transformation. Not breaking, not collapsing, morphing. 11 hours ago, the event, it split, cleanly, along what looked like a predetermined seam, like a stage separation maneuver on a spacecraft, or like someone opening a container and removing part of its contents. One half maintained its previous trajectory. Still moving too fast, still impossible, and remains trackable. The other half, Object B, turned sharply perpendicular to its prior path. Physics would require a thrust event, but no force was observed, no heat, no radiation flash, no mass expulsion, and then instant disappearance, not dimming, not device interference, not occlusion behind a star. Gone, in a frame of observation time so small you could mistake it for video corruption. Except it wasn't corruption. Every independent system recorded the same result. An object miles wide exited detectability across every instrument humanity possesses. Tell me, how do you rationalize that? Because every physicist, astronomer, and military analyst I've spoken to since is confronting the same truth. We don't know what happened, and we don't know where it went, or if it's still here. Simply invisible. So where is it now? If Object B stayed in our space-time, it should exert gravitational force, distort light, bend radio waves. We detect nothing. If it used advanced cloaking, it would require energy manipulation beyond the scope of our known physics. If it left our dimensional plane, then we are witnessing technology centuries or millennia beyond human capability. And here's the frightening strategic implication. If it wanted to approach Earth unseen, nothing could stop it. Our space-based defense infrastructure is built on detection. You cannot defend against what you cannot perceive. Even generals are calling this the first true cosmic blind spot. And no, this isn't conspiracy theory. This isn't fringe or rumor or internet myth. Multiple nations' observatories saw this. Defense satellites tracked this. AI astronomy systems validated this. There is nothing speculative here. Something real, massive, entered our solar system, changed shape, split apart, emitted artificial-like signals, and vanished using technology or physics we cannot explain. And now, half of it is missing. The universe just reminded us of something. We are not in control. We are not the apex intelligence. And we may not even be the ones observing, but the ones being observed. Let's pick up from the moment the world realized Object B in the vanished half wasn't just lost, it might be hiding. And that possibility has thrown every major government and scientific institution into controlled panic. Because if something massive can sit inside our solar system, unseen by every defense network we've spent decades building, then our entire blueprint for planetary security has just been invalidated overnight. This isn't a theory anymore. It's a vulnerability. One humanity was forced to confront without warning. And I want you to understand the gravity of that. What happens when you lose sight of something that shouldn't disappear? Right now, as I speak, top-level scientists, defense analysts, and astrophysicists are essentially blind. The systems we trusted, the telescopes, the infrared sensors, the deep space radar sweeps, they all failed at the exact same moment. That's not coincidence. That's not nature. That's a deliberate absence. For decades, we assumed that if anything hostile ever entered our solar system, we would see it coming. We designed protocols based on visibility, detection, interception. But this is something that doesn't follow the rules of engagement we assumed the universe would obey. And so now the unspoken question hanging over every briefing room and strategy table is, what do you do when the threat becomes invisible? People always imagine first contact like a message, a signal, something poetic or ambiguous giving humanity time to respond, interpret, prepare. But what if first contact wasn't a greeting? What if it was reconnaissance or positioning or a test of how blind we truly are? These are no longer questions whispered on forums or in science fiction novels. These are the conversations happening behind closed doors in NASA, the Pentagon, ESA, and defense ministries worldwide. I know, I've been on those emergency calls, and I will tell you the same thing I told them. If Object B is still here, it chose not to be seen. That is intention, that is agency, and that changes everything. How the world is responding. Quietly, NASA has activated Contingency Protocol 7. Very few knew it even existed before today. This protocol essentially turns every observational asset, ground, orbital, and deep space, toward a single unified mission. Locate the missing object. Every dish, every optical array, every classified military satellite is now sweeping space in synchronized grids. Space Force is not theoretical anymore. It's active. Telescopes from Chile to Hawaii to South Africa are running coordinated scans. Defense satellites in geosynchronous orbit were repositioned within hours. Black budget surveillance systems are live, and despite all that, we have nothing. Not a signature, not a shadow, not a gravitational wobble. Imagine looking across a calm lake, a stone the size of a skyscraper supposedly splashed into it, and yet the surface is perfectly still. No ripples, no waves, no disturbance. That's what we're dealing with. An object miles across evaporated from physics, and that leads to the next question, the one keeping world leaders awake. If something can hide this perfectly, what else can it do? Two competing theories, both terrifying. At the moment, the world's brightest minds are split into two camps. Theory 1, Object B left the solar system instantly. That would imply faster-than-light travel, or something functionally equivalent, mastery of space-time distortion. Technology leaps beyond anything humanity can imagine. If that is true, then whatever created this object is operating so far ahead of us, we are essentially a primitive species staring at a starship. But here's the part no one wants to say aloud. If they can come and go without detection, they can come back whenever they want, and we would never know. Theory 2. Object B never left. It simply changed its interaction with our reality. That possibility is worse. Imagine something massive, silent, watching, right now, floating somewhere between Earth and Mars, undetectable, waiting. If it's here, it isn't resting, it isn't drifting, it is choosing invisibility. And choice implies motive. Is this technology, or something even stranger? I've dedicated my life to the idea that extraordinary things can be explained by physics, even if it's physics we don't fully understand yet. Quantum cloaking, dimensional tunneling, manipulation of vacuum energy fields. These are concepts we've entertained academically. But to witness one in operation, that wasn't supposed to happen in our lifetime. We always imagined humans would be the ones to unlock these breakthroughs. But what if someone else already did? thousands or millions of years ago. What we saw wasn't an accident. The transformation, the energy pulses, the controlled separation, the vanishing, it all points to intent, not a rock, not an ice ball, not debris, a vehicle, a probe, a mechanism. And we may now be part of whatever program it belongs to. Why hide? Why split? Why now? Some of my colleagues believe Object A, the visible half, is a distraction. Send something obvious. Let us watch it, track it, analyze it. Meanwhile, the true mission continues unseen. Others believe the split was a test, a demonstration to show us how little power we truly have in cosmic terms. Personally, the more I analyze the patterns, the timing, the behavior, the more one possibility rises above the rest. This was phase 1. Object A leaves, Object B remains. Unseen, observation, data collection, strategic positioning. Remember, no communication, no attempt to make friendly contact, no broadcast of peaceful intent. Just stealth, separation, and disappearance. That isn't diplomacy. That's surveillance, or preparation. Nature doesn't play chess. Civilizations do. What happens now? People ask if they should panic. Number. Panic solves nothing. But should humanity be alert? Absolutely. Because the uncomfortable truth is we do not currently control our skies, and for the first time in human history we are confronted with something that proves our technological dominance is not absolute, not even close. Every simulation team, every observatory, every physicist currently awake and working is trying to answer a single critical question. Where did Object B go? Followed immediately by, what does it want? Our new reality. I've spent a lifetime explaining complex science to the public, trying to demystify the cosmos, share wonder rather than fear. But what we've witnessed isn't just an astronomical anomaly. It is a reminder that we are young, that we are not the center of intelligence in the universe, and that we are not guaranteed awareness of everything happening around us. We built telescopes to look outward, never expecting something would arrive silently and then hide. Well, now we know better. We have entered a new era, not of expansion but revelation. Not because we discovered something, but because something revealed itself to us, or on its terms. And if there is one message I need humanity to absorb, it is this. We are not alone, and for the first time, we are not the observers. We are the observed. Prepare for what comes next, not in fear but in understanding. The universe just opened a door, and whatever stepped through it is already inside. But here's where everything turns. Because while the astronomy community debates whether this is a natural acceleration, the data keeps whispering a stranger possibility. Atlas didn't just move, it timed its move. Right at the moment of maximum gravitational pressure, perihelion, the object surged, as though surfing the sun's gravity instead of fighting it. That shouldn't happen. Unless it wanted the slingshot. Unless this wasn't chaos but choreography. You see, space isn't silent, it's a stage, and only very advanced travelers know how to play with the forces that hold worlds together. If you don't merely endure gravity, you can ride it. Like using ocean tides, but across a star system. We're watching something that doesn't fight physics. It uses physics like a tool. That's not a comet behavior, that's navigation. And here's the part almost no one has processed yet. Atlas didn't accelerate randomly. It accelerated away from us. If this were a comet fragmenting, it would spin, break, tumble, scatter dust in chaotic streaks. Instead, we get a clean acceleration vector, a controlled arc, a smooth retreat. Like a visitor who came close enough to observe, to taste our star's heat and gravity. And then left, not fleeing, not stumbling, just departing, as if to say, we saw what we needed, and that quiet departure is what chills astronomers most. Because if something arrives, studies the inner solar system, collects what it wants and leaves, it means it wasn't lost. It wasn't random. It didn't crash. It knew the path in and the way out, and beings with planned trajectories don't improvise. They return. Even now, right now, dozens of observatories are tracking Atlas as it fades into black. Not because we expect a threat, but because we want to know when or if that turn happens. Objects on reconnaissance paths don't simply vanish into infinity. They loop, they survey, they map, they bookmark the coordinates of stars that speak in radio waves and build telescopes on mountaintops. Imagine civilization elsewhere doing what we do, not attacking first, not revealing intentions, just watching, recording, judging. Civilizations don't leap into invitation. They measure risk first. And maybe this was our evaluation. A cosmic drive-by. Quiet, discreet, efficient. And here's the question that might bend your mind. What if Atlas wasn't accelerating away? What if it's accelerating to circle back later? Astronomers are already modeling future orbital solutions. Some are whispering about a long return loop. Decades? Centuries? We don't know. But imagine the line on the chart, a curved thread into shadows beyond Neptune, then a quiet pivot centuries later back toward the inner system. Back toward us. We always assumed first contact would be dramatic. Ships in the sky, signals on every frequency, glory or terror filling the atmosphere. But what if first contact already happened? And it looked like a flicker in a telescope, a gravity tap, a gentle push, a data-gathering glide around our star by something ancient, curious, and infinitely patient. We think in news cycles. Spacefaring civilizations think in epochs. And if this was a scout, we just passed a cosmic milestone humanity wasn't spiritually ready for. Not invasion, not greetings, acknowledgement. A nod from the dark, a sign. You are seen. And here's the final twist. If there are civilizations advanced enough to drift between stars using gravity instead of propellant, to time orbital boosts with star-skimming precision. They don't explore alone. Scouts are never the main fleet. Surveyors don't carry flags. They carry sensors. Which means, somewhere out there, beyond the glare, beyond dust and silent radio skies, something might already have our coordinates. But don't panic, don't fear. If a civilization can travel among stars waiting centuries between maneuvers, they don't fear us. They don't rush. They don't conquer like we once did. They observe, maybe to learn, maybe to judge, maybe to help prevent other worlds from making the mistakes that shatter civilizations before they ever touch the stars. Or maybe they simply catalog life, a cosmic library, a census of intelligent sparks. And we, tiny, loud, curious humanity, just became a confirmed page in that archive. So what do we do now? We watch them back. We refine our telescopes. We listen harder. We send our own scouts, robotic today, biological tomorrow, post-biological someday. Maybe the universe isn't a battleground, maybe it's a classroom. And maybe, just maybe, this was our first lesson. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You were simply not interesting yet, until now. Keep your eyes on the data, because the moment that arc curves, the moment Atlas path shifts again, humanity enters a new chapter. Not science fiction, not myth, contact by trajectory. And when that day comes, remember this moment. We witnessed the first quiet handshake between worlds, and most of humanity didn't even look up. If you want to follow every stage of this cosmic mystery, from orbital updates to deep space theories no one else touches, make sure you're here for the next chapter. Because when the universe whispers, we listen. Subscribe. Stay curious. And remember, silence isn't emptiness. It's observation.